soon. Okay, there we go. Oh, just a little under a minute and we are ready. Can you hear me okay out there? Want to make sure so that we catch everything. Are you out there, Wesley? I assume you are. There we go. All right. There's Jasmine. All right. So we're not the only people out here. Okay. So we want to get together. Reminder that tomorrow class ends at 10 o'clock p.m. That's Thursday, September 26th. That is when the class will close and lock. You may have seen announcements saying that campuses are closed tomorrow. That is the physical ground campus, and that's not all ground campuses. We have multiple campuses. So depending on where you are, that means the physical ground campus itself is closed. That is not the online campuses. So the online classes are still going to be running. Our servers are going to be up and they are going to be operational. Now, depending on where you are, you may be without electricity or internet. I may be without it. Dr. Parker may be without it, but hopefully you have some sort of backup plan, etc., or you have completed everything by then. So please plan your time. But most of all, be safe whatever you do. We care more about you than anything. So please be safe. And I want to go ahead and get this class rolling so that you can get back to your preparations or completing your assignments, whatever you need to do. So I'm going to start off with a screen share here. And here we go. Let's start this off. We're going to change this to a student view. And we are in week 4, of course. And tomorrow be the last day. I do apologize for coughing here. So everything should have been completed all the way up to Wednesday, and that is that leadership project that I've talked about earlier in the week here. And that is where you interviewed somebody in a position of authority or management type position. And hopefully you've learned something from the other side of it, what it's like to have to move up and possibly have left people that you enjoyed working with at a lower level of being in a company. And so there could be resentment. You may be struggling with a sense of in larger sense of authority and having to deal with it. So you get to find out what it's like from the other side. Sometimes it's not as easy as you might think. So this is a good way to find out what that's like because many of you will be moving up once you get into those careers. So anything up until that time, please be up to date because time is running out and we want to make sure that everybody does manage to get those assignments done on time. The other thing is tomorrow, this career plan. Please make sure that you take the time to complete this. Um, you do have a template to follow. Your goals go in the top, your skills, what you need to know the difference between those hard and those soft skills. These are your hard skills. These are your soft skills. That's really important because when you go into those fields, you need to know what they are. When somebody says, what are your hard skills? Well, these are your career specific skills. What are your soft or your transferable skills? Those are your people skills. Those are your ability to work in a team. Those are your communicative skills, well you can talk, how well you can write and convey your information to other people. Those are key because anybody that has been in that field long enough, you can do the physical parts of that job. But if you can't talk back and forth to people, you're going to have a little more difficulty moving up and getting that extra value, that extra income, those extra benefits that you truly want. So think about how you talk, how you write, how you communicate with people. Do it properly. Okay. That's going to make a big difference. Okay. This part here, this development need, what certifications do you need? Do you need OSHA skills? Do you need other skills? What else training might you need to go further in your career? Quit living for today and think about future, because that's what you have. You're going to be here for a while. You're going to want to grow. Think about what you're going to do ahead of time. You have a bright future ahead of you. Plan it. Make it your own. This is for you. All this class has been for you, how you can do things. It can be scary because you may not have thought you have a good future ahead of you for a long time, but you do, you can, and you will. So I want you to think about those. Start thinking about you and how good you are and believe it. Because I truly do believe this because it's happened to me and it's happened to many of my friends who started out just like you. We switched careers, we made a choice, and it works. Okay. We may not have done it at Southern Tech, but we did it very similar. So I know these things work. Or I wouldn't do it. Okay. I just wouldn't do it. Okay. Your action plan, those are your short term goals. You did them earlier in the class, list them out. So that's not going to be an issue. And then that final exam, give yourself plenty of time to do that. Okay. Give yourself plenty of time to do it. Don't create a bunch of stress trying to go through this storm, trying to rush. You got time. Take the time. Many of you are already know you're not working tomorrow. Do it as soon as you can. All right? Everybody good with that? We're going to allow ourselves time, not be stressed. Trust me, rushing at the last time, you're stressing yourself out. Lack of planning creates stress. Be kind to yourself. Don't do that. So let's go ahead and get this ball a rolling. You get a, whoops. Got 3 screens to make this show go, folks. Sometimes I get them confused. Here we go. Protecting your identity. So let me tell you, you have to. Orlando area, this happens quite a bit here. Let's head an error there. There we go. People go, a bunch of people get hired, they work hard, then they go to get that paycheck. And guess what? The company is gone. Doesn't exist anymore. The company has Zippo, moved, gone, vamoosed. No money. Okay. You need to protect your identity, be safe, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. This is going to be a short class, so I want you to hold your interest, think about this, okay? Protect that identity, all right? So here we go. Last time you're going to see me draw a little smiley face. Oops, got to turn my pen on here. Boom. Get my ink, go back, make sure it's working. Little smiley face. You're going to miss those little smiley faces. You didn't get to see that many of them. We're going to define identity theft, learn how to recognize and report employment scams, potential of risks that it can be encountered, define malware and list examples, and create and maintain a security plan. Boy, I'm just jumping all over the place. Maintain a security plan. There we go. So protect your privacy when looking for a job online, because identity theft is an illegal activity and involves stealing your personal information to commit theft or fraud. So we got to be diligent. Okay? So we need to protect ourselves. And we got to be cautious and use common sense. Okay? You can't be paranoid, but you got to be cautious. Do not include your social security number on documents when you're online. Okay? Don't be giving it out. It's not candy. Don't hand that out to people. Only use that when you are in front of human resources and you have to fill out forms in person. Don't just be handing out that social security number because that can unlock untold information about you. Now, we've heard about the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission. We think about that with transmitting and broadcasting and this and that, but they're actually there. They have a website that will give you guidance if you think your identity has been stolen. You probably didn't know that they're there to help you. Those government agencies that everybody gripes about, they're actually useful. Okay? Quit slamming them because you don't know all the things that they can do for you. You just hear the bad things because the bad information sells headlines. All right? The FTC is there to help you. Okay, so when you're applying for on jobs online, you're going to go to all kinds of websites. So you need to recognize things. Okay. And some of these job sites, they're not real. They're just going to be there to try to get your information. So, and you need to watch out for emails. Emails that make sound like they're coming from real companies, but check where they're actually coming from, and you'll see misspellings in those emails and things like that. If you really want to check, don't just respond to them, but go to the company website. See if it's legitimate. See if that company's legitimate. Some signs that they're not is that URL that you're supposed to click on, the company's name is not in there. Okay? That company name should be in that URL that's in that link. So when you hover over it, see if part of the company name's there. Okay. The other thing is the website or the job posting has misspellings. Okay. That's another site that it's not legitimate. The other thing, they'll ask you for a bank account. They'll ask you for social security numbers. Those are not real companies. Okay. Don't fall for it. And it may sound ridiculous to you, but I wouldn't be telling you this if it doesn't happen thousands and thousands and thousands of times a day that people fall for this because they want that big money. They want that big money quick. If there was an easy way to make all this big money, do you think I would be sitting here on the other side of this camera preaching this? Nope. I would be in my Bugatti cruising down the highway. Okay? No, 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 no. My name is Ron, and I would be driving a Ron. Okay? Got it? There's not an easy get rich quick scheme. Don't fall for it. Everybody who tells you they've got a get rich quick scheme, ask them this. Then why are you in my neighborhood? If they're so good at getting rich, why are you in my neighborhood? Have you noticed that? All these people who know how to get rich, they're in your hood. Now, does that make sense? Because I guarantee you, if you're making that kind of money, you wouldn't be living in my hood. Think about that. Hmm. The people who are tell you how smart they are, but yet they could never pass anything. Gotcha. Okay. So when you're working on a computer, how many people go into incognito mode to search the internet so they have privacy? Yeah. Jasmine, hate to tell you this, it's a lie. It's a lie. We can still track you. All right. Now, it is a little bit safer, but it's still a lie. We can still find you, but it is better. Okay. So every time you go searching and you're out on the internet, you have an IP address. Okay. And that IP address identifies your computer. And with that IP address, it also tells us approximately where you're at. So we can narrow it down kind of to a city and to the state you're in. Now, if you hide behind a VPN, that makes it a little more difficult because we see where the VPN is, not exactly where you are. And to make it a little more interesting, you stop at a gas station and you use a credit card to buy your gas. As soon as you use that card, we can tell based on your previous buying habits within almost a 90% accuracy based on the stores and things around you, about 90% where your next stop's going to be. And if you go into a retail place, we can tell about a 70% accuracy what type of items you're going to buy based on your previous purchase history. That's the kind of information that is tracked now. Kind of scary, isn't it? Spooks me. And I've helped track that information and it still spooks me. So, what can we watch for to help make this a little more secure? Look for web pages that begin with this HTTPS. Older sites were just HTTP. You'll see it up in the corner of your browser. HTTPS, that's a secure protocol. It doesn't mean it's 100% secure, but it's better. Try to stay off of websites that are only HTTP. Okay, that'll help. Incognito, that kind of helps. Make sure you're running different protection and avoid this, a fake hotspot. So fake hotspots, check with employees of the business providing Wi-Fi to make sure you got that name exact and the access key, okay? Try not to use payments when you're on public hotspots, okay? And making sure you have that name because it's not uncommon for people to be outside of Starbucks, McDonald's, Denny's, all these places with public Wi-Fi's, and they're going to have a Wi-Fi that has the most common misspellings. So when you're selecting that Wi-Fi, you're going to select their Wi-Fi and it's going to have the same password as the legitimate one. So you think you're connecting to the correct one and you're connecting to theirs. And then you go to your bank and you type in your password and your user ID and your password, and they skim it right off of it. Do you see how this happens so easily? Because you selected what you thought was the right one, but you selected theirs. You typed in the correct one's password, but it's the same as theirs. How many people see how easy it is for them to do this? Y'all see this? See how they're tricking you? Everybody out there? Ricardo is. All right, 2 people. Everybody else? I'll roll call.
I'm here.
Okay. Everybody else? I'll go down the line if I need to. Wesley's there. All right, there we go. The reason why it's so important is I don't want you to get ripped off. Okay? It happens. Now, cookies. Everybody loves cookies. I know I've had too many cookies, but these type of cookies you don't get to eat. Everybody pretty much knows what cookies are, but cookies are pieces of data that are stored on your computer. And what it does is it keeps track of places you visited. It can also keep little bits of your password, things like that. And people want them. We call them actually cookie monsters. They will try to steal your cookies. And the reason why they want them is because it does keep things like your mother's maiden name, your favorite movie. Now, doesn't that sound familiar? These are things that people keep for remembering their passwords. How many people answer these questions so that if you forget your password, right? Everybody answer these? Yeah. Okay, so if it asks me, what's your mother's maiden name? I put in things like Ferrari Lamborghini. You don't have to answer that question with what they're asking. You can put in any answer as long as you know what that answer is. So if it asks you what's your mother's maiden name, put in your favorite color, put in your favorite movie. You don't have to give them your mother's maiden name because that's an easy hack. They can go on public record, find out who your parents are. They can get your mother's maiden name and they can hack your information. Don't let them, okay? So watch out for that. Make it more difficult. Now, there's different types of ways to attack things. Phishing, not catfishing. You're not tricking people like that, but they're going to send you emails. And again, that email's going to look legitimate, but don't fall for it. If it's telling you they need you to re-verify your password and to click here to do that, don't fall for it. Go and type in the name of that website personally, the correct one, and then go and check your password yourself. Okay? None of your family members are in a prison overseas, and the only way to get to them is to click there and buy Apple gift cards. Okay? Nope. Don't fall for these things. Don't fall for any type of emails or websites where you need to put in personal information like that. Okay? It doesn't work that way. So, malware, these are going to be on your final exam, by the way. Malware, the difference between that and a virus, malware is designed to damage and destroy or steal your data. That's its purpose, to do that on your computer. It's going to damage, destroy, or steal your data. The difference between it and a virus, the virus can do things that's not necessarily going to damage it, but it's going to cause problems. It can cause your screen to flip upside down. It can cause your system to constantly reboot. But the other thing a virus will do is it's going to spread. It's going to try to attach onto the internet. It's going to try to attach onto external drives. It wants to spread. Okay. Now, adware, right here, it says that it's without a user's knowledge. That's not necessarily true. Adware can also be called freeware. You get the product free, but you have to put up with the ads. Everybody see this kind of like with apps on your phone. You can get the free version. Everybody's seen these. You get the free version, but you gotta keep clicking on the ads. I know I'm not the only one with the phone that gets free apps. Okay, Jasmine. Okay, and then if you pay, you don't have to put up with the apps. That's what adware is. You're gonna put up with the ads, etc. Okay. Now, spyware, you may not know you have spyware, but what it's doing is it's going around, it's collecting the information off your computer and it's sending it back to another source. Now, Microsoft got in trouble for that. Xbox, they were turning on those cameras on those Xboxes and they were watching people in their living room. So it wasn't only just spying on people, but it was literally spying on the people. Okay. Now, ransomware. Who heard of ransomware in the news? I know if y'all are paying attention and you've been watching news, you've heard of ransomware. Wesley's heard of it. I'm watching some of y'all haven't had a response the entire class. Luckily, Teams keeps track of that as well. Chris is out there. I see a couple that have not done anything online the entire time. Gotcha. Okay. So ransomware, it will literally lock up your computer system. And what it'll do is it's going to stay locked up until you agree to the people who wrote that code will pay the amount of money they demand. They won't release it. And what you have to trust is once you pay that money, they will come in and unlock that code and it will free up your computer. This has recently happened to a sheriff's office. It's happened to a school system. It's happened to the state. So you need to be running antivirus software. Anybody out there running an Android phone? Anybody got Android phones out there? Ricardo does. Anybody else running Androids? So everybody else has Apples. Okay. So Apple does have antivirus software, but if you're running an Android, because of the Android software, it is more prone to attacks. So please make sure if you're running any Android based software, you do run antivirus software. This includes on the tablets and on the phones. It's just the nature of the operating system. The more flexibility you have, and the Android systems are very flexible, and their operating system allows more people in to make changes, please run antivirus software on those phones. All right. The other thing, secure passwords. Make sure you are running a secure password. Multi-factor authentication. Ooh, that's a mouthful. If you're given the opportunity, use it. It is a pain to use. I hate it myself. That's where you put in your user ID and your password, and then they send a code back to you. I hate it. Use it. It makes things safe. Check your security uh, settings. Whoops, let me start this again. Uh, Check your security settings. Well, I'm just having all kinds of luck right here. Let me go back. Check your security. Well, try this again. Check your security settings. There we go. Make sure that they are up to date and consider doing cloud-based backups. Back your phone up, back your laptops up. That way, if something does happen to it, you have a backup somewhere other than on your device. That way you can get it restored back. Okay? Now, this security plan, it's basically this checklist. I guarantee you, I do not have a checklist, but it's about the same thing that we just went over, talking about your backups, your security things, but it does include some other things on here like the pop-up blocker. Make sure that you have that turned on, except in situations where you shouldn't have it. We have to turn it off for one of our books here at the school, so that's another thing. Make sure your firewall's turned on. That's another way to protect yourself as well. Okay? Check your privacy settings for social network. You need to have that on anyway to keep them from seeing things that they shouldn't. And of course, passwords. Check your passwords. Don't use common phrases. Make sure they're long enough. Use special characters. The reason being, people who do hacking, they have rows of machines, and all they're doing is continuously checking password combinations over and over and over. And then every time they get a hit, they just send that information over to the hacker. And that's what it is, just machine after machine, constantly checking, rooms full of these. That's all they do is check passwords. And when they get a hit, they send that correct combination over. All right. So everybody ready for the question today? And yes, yes, or I could continue to lecture. All
Come on.
right. Okay. There we go. Now people are starting to wake up. Okay. Have you ever been hacked or had your identity stolen? If so, how did you fix it? Okay. Or what are you doing to keep your identity safe? List three things. So those are the questions for today. Have you had ever been hacked or had your identity stolen? If so, how did you fix it? So that's a combination. Or what are you doing to keep your identity safe? List 3 things. All right. So that is the question for today. And that is the last live session for me. I appreciate y'all having me, letting me help Miss Parker out. And as far as grading, she's doing the grading. I'm in touch with her, so she'll be checking out your responses to this question. She knows what the question is, like all of them. So I want y'all to be safe in your preparations for the storm. Try to get everything in by 10 p.m. tomorrow night, and I wish you luck in your future careers. So thank you, and y'all have a great evening.